Good day everyone, this is General Bacosmo, and for this topic, we talk all about marine environment and major sources of marine pollution and its impact. First, what is marine environment? Marine environment are those in the world seas and oceans below mean high tide mark. Marine environments relate to the morphology of nearshore, offshore, and deep water zones of the ocean. The marine environment is a vital resource for life on Earth. Marine ecosystems perform a number of key environmental functions. They regulate the climate, prevent erosion, accumulate and distribute solar energy, absorb carbon dioxide, and maintain biological control. How can we protect our marine environment? First is mind your carbon footprint and reduce energy consumption. Then make safe, sustainable seafood choices and use fewer plastic products. Help take care of the beach and don't purchase items that exploit marine life. And be an ocean-friendly pet owner. What are the major sources of marine pollution and its impact? Hazards to human, animals, and shipping industry. Chemical contamination or nutrient pollution is concerning for health, environmental, and economic reasons. This type of pollution occurs when human activities, notably the use of fertilizers on farm, lead to the runoff of chemicals into waterways and ultimately flow into the ocean. This trash poses dangers to both humans and animals. Fish become tangled and injured in the debris, and some animals mistake items like plastic bags for food and eat them. Small organisms feed on tiny bits of broken down plastic called microplastic and absorb the chemical from the plastic into their tissues. Solutions for marine pollution include prevention and cleanup. Disposable and single-use plastic is abundantly used in today's society, from shopping bags to shipping packaging to plastic bottles. Changing society's approach to plastic use will be a long and economically challenging process. Cleanup, in contrast, may be impossible for some items. Even some promising solutions are inadequate for combating marine pollution. So-called biodegradable plastic often break down only at temperatures higher than will be ever reaches in the ocean. Lastly, the MARPOL Convention. The International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, or MARPOL, is the main international convention covering prevention of pollution of the marine environment by ships from operational and accidental causes. The MARPOL Convention was adopted on November 2, 1973 at IMO. The Protocol of 1978 was adopted in response to a spate of tanker accidents in 1976 to 1977. As the 1973 MARPOL Convention had not yet entered into force, the 1978 MARPOL Protocol observed that parent convention. The combined instrument entered into force on October 2, 1983. In 1997, a protocol was adopted to amend the convention, and a new Annex 6 was added, which entered into force on May 19, 2005. MARPOL has been updated by amendments through the years. The convention includes regulations aimed at preventing and minimizing pollution from ships, both accidental pollution and that from routine operations, and currently included 6 technical annexes. Special areas with strict control on operational discharges are included in most annexes. First, Annex 1, the Regulations for the Prevention of Pollution by Oil, entered into force October 2, 1983. Covers prevention of pollution by oil from operational measures as well as from accidental discharges. The 1992 amendments to Annex 1 made it mandatory for new oil tankers to have double hulls and brought into a phase-in schedule for existing tanker to fit double hulls, which are subsequently revised in 2001 and 2003. Annex 2. Regulations for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances in bulk. Entered into force October 2, 1983. Details the discharge criteria and measures for the control of pollution by noxious liquid substances carried in bulk. Some 250 substances were evaluated and included in the list appended to the convention. The discharge of their residues is allowed only the reception facilities until certain concentration and conditions are complied with. In any case, no discharge of residues containing noxious substances is permitted within 12 miles of the nearest land. Annex 3. Prevention of pollution by harmful substances carried by sea in package form. Entered into force July 1, 1992. Contains general requirements for the issuing of detailed standards on packing, marking, labeling, documentation, stowage, quantity limitations, exceptions, and notifications. For the purpose of this annex, or harmful substances are those substances which are identified as marine pollutants in the International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code or IMDG Code, or which meet the criteria in the appendix of Annex 3. Annex 4. Prevention of pollution by sewage from ship. Entered into force September 27, 2003. Contains requirements to control pollution of the sea by sewage. The discharge of sewage into the sea is prohibited, except when the ship has in operation an approved sewage treatment plant, or when the ship is discharging, commute, and disinfect sewage using an approved system at the distance of more than 3 nautical miles from the nearest land. Sewage which is not commuted or disinfected has to be discharged at a distance of more than 12 nautical miles from the nearest land. Annex 5 is prevention of pollution by garbage from ship. Entered into force December 31, 1988. Deals with different types of garbage and specifies the distance from land and the manner in which they may be disposed of. The most important feature of the annex is the complete ban imposed on the disposal into the sea of all forms of plastics. Lastly, Annex 6 or prevention of air pollution from ships. Entered into force May 19, 2005. Sets limits on sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide emission from ship, exhaust, and prohibits deliberate emissions of ozone-depleting substances. Designated emission control areas set more stringent standards for sulfur oxide or nitrogen oxide and participate matter. A chapter adopted in 2011 covers mandatory technical and operational energy efficiency measured aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions from ship. And that's all for today. Goodbye and God bless.